Welcome back to Talking Wealth. I'm Dale Gillham, your host for today, and we have a new guest on Talking Wealth, Travis Bell. Now, affectionately known as the Bucket List Guy, Travis is a self-proclaimed bucket listologist on a mission to help people embrace life to the fullest. Now, Travis shakes up the mundane with his unique life engagement message and inspires us to break free from routine. From TEDx stages to best-selling books, Travis is a dynamic speaker and author, spreading his contagious enthusiasm for life across the globe. Now, it's a pleasure to have him here today as we explore the art of living with purpose and fulfillment. Travis Bell, welcome to Talking Wealth. How are you today?
I am so stoked I'm here. Thanks so much for having me.
Look, it's a pleasure. I mean, one of your statements that you talk about is like, I'm trying to paraphrase it, but I may not get it correct. It basically, you say people die at 40, but then they really die at 80.
Nearly right. It's probably the one that I'm quoted on the most. I don't know why, but people are dying at 40 and being buried at 80.
That's correct, yes.
Yeah.
I knew I got it right.
Nearly got it right. It resonates. It resonates in different ways. You know, you can look at that as a positive and also as a negative. You know, but it does wake people up. You know, as a speaker, as you know, your job is to go into an audience, group of people, and disrupt to a certain extent. And if you're a sheep, you're not adding value.
Correct. Yeah.
So you don't go in there and I don't scare the living heck out of them, but it nearly gets there. Your value is actually
you're kinder than I am.
Depends who's paying the bill, you know.
Yeah.
But you got to go into audiences with people, I guess, as a coach, as a speaker, as a thought leader, and get them to think in different ways than they normally think for themselves in those mundane kind of situations. Otherwise, there's no value.
Yeah, you're correct. I mean, I told a story a little while ago. I was at a business, I can't say business, it's an unnetworking event that happens here in Melbourne, and they get like 13, 14 business people, mature business people, at a dinner, and we're not allowed to hand out business cards. We're not allowed to talk about work. We're not allowed to talk about politics or religion. So we have to talk about other stuff.
What do you got?
Right? But it's about getting to know each other, and they ask a question, and people go around, and you don't have to stand up and answer the question if you don't want to. But I stood up for this question one day at one of those dinners, and I said, has anybody ever noticed that when people get to 40, they just go on a treadmill? Yeah. They just give up.
Yeah.
You know, and it's like, I said, I don't know how people do that. They lose their, I won't say their life force, but do they like go, oh shit, well, I'm not going to get my goals now. I'm not going to get whatever it is.
Yeah. My theory is people do stop pushing the envelope. They give up to a certain extent. You know, we can go outside right now and we can see people just sleepwalking through their life.
Correct. Yep.
Living life by the default rather than intentional design. You know, just existing and not living until, like the movie, The Bucket List, until something dramatic or traumatic happens to them or a loved one, and then bang, they get that wake-up call. Do we have to get that wake-up call? You know, my whole mission is to help people wake up before they get given a use-by date.
Oh, yeah.
And so, unfortunately, we need pain to motivate us to move, right? So, you know, I as a thought leader, you know, doing what I do as the bucket list guy, I want to give people a wake-up call so they don't have a midlife crisis, but they have a midlife awakening.
Was that correct? Because there's so many people are just waiting to retire. And I can't
the
think of
statistics
anything
around
worse.
retiring and dying is scary.
It is.
You know, how many people exit their business? How many people retire and then have maybe, 2, 3, 4, 5, at best 10 years and then kick the bucket. Really? We slave away in the 40-40-40 plan, 40 years of our life for 40 hours a week, if not more, to live on 40% of what we earn at our peak. That's it. And we do that for the majority of our life. It's a scary proposition. One of the fights that I fight, I dare say, and you do too in your own way, is the disturbing mental health statistics.
Yes.
You know, so something's broken, dude. And that's what I'm trying to do it through this bucket list narrative, through this bucket list lens, if you will, And everything that I teach and I've always taught is positive psychology, right? So that's how to identify a person's strengths, what gives them a sense of meaning, purpose and fulfillment and gratitude, and basically getting them to do more, bleed more of that into their work and into their life so they have a happier life. And all I've done is put this bucket list brand over the top of it to make it more palatable, more user-friendly, both for kids and corporate. So, but I'm trying to do it as good as I possibly can. Been doing that for 13 years. And it's worked to a certain extent, but I certainly haven't helped as many people as I want to.
As long as you help one, that's a start.
Well, that's yeah, I'm an overachiever, I guess. I want to help too. But something's broken because, like you say, you know, mental health, depression. I've been through depression, anxiety. We're at all-time highs now.
Yes.
The overprescription of antidepressants, don't even get me started. And suicides, youth suicides. Then you go throw a pandemic on top of that. Now, we know and now we've got this thing called the loneliness epidemic. It's a real thing. Google it, people.
Oh, wow.
It's called the loneliness epidemic. We're more connected than ever before, but we're all more disconnected than ever before. That is a mental health perfect storm right there, right? And then it's just getting worse. So drugs ain't going to fix it. There has to be some other narrative that's delivered rather than getting, just therapy and self-help groups and drugs to have people be normal again is all well and good, but people have got to be given tools, so there's light at the end of the tunnel. And
it's not a train.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, 100%. So I'm doing my bit as good as I possibly can. And I've been doing it for a number of years, and it's, like you just said, helping one person, and the feedback that I get every day, every audience, keeps driving me to help even more people.
I know, I mean, because you're a highly motivated person, and so am I, and I was like, okay. But we all have bad days where
100%.
we have a bad case of the couldn't be's. I couldn't be bothered.
Yeah, there's another word that you could use there. Yeah.
But we also have sometimes we all have suffered depression in some way or form in our life. And I know even with all the lockdowns, I mean, I was living in paradise here in Melbourne, nothing to complain about. And people say, how did you cope through all the lockdowns? And I go, I have first world problems. But even I was getting depressed because of that lack of control. And I think that was causing it. But, to me, nothing positive comes out of a negative mind. But how do we get people to shift? How do we get them to, wake up and move? And you said, pain is the big motivator there. Yeah. But is that the only way too?
Look, in all of my years, so prior to becoming the bucket list guy, and someone called me the bucket list guy 13 years ago after the first very bad presentation that I put on compared to what I do now. I was in the personal fitness training industry for over 20 years. Yep. And we founded and franchised personal training studios around Australia. Had nearly I think we did over 2 million personal training sessions, over 300 personal trainers working for us under that umbrella. Tens of thousands of clients and their families got motivated. But 95% of people would come into the studios, into our boutique gyms, and we'd ask them, all right, what's your goal? Lose weight, turn up. Lose weight, turn up. Oh, wow, haven't heard that before. Yeah. So most people, we'd ask, all right, why? And let's map this into other areas of life. But why? Well, I want to, summer's coming and I'm now having to do like the caterpillar on the bed trying to get into the jeans, or the bloke, trying to fit on the suit that he hasn't had on for a while, and oh, look out. There's a bit of pain associated with that. But if someone's just gone to come back from the doctor and the doctor said, well, if you don't do something, we're going to have to open up your chest, or you're going to die soon, you're going to have a heart attack. And that's real talk. Or I've gone up the stairs to the gym and I'm like, doing the wall push-up because I'm out of breath, or I've just played with the kids and I can't handle it anymore. Or there's so many stories, or I haven't been laid in a while. I'm lonely. These are huge motivators, painful motivators, unfortunately, but it's the thing that gets a person to wave the white flag and go, you know what, I do need some help. I'm going to outsource this. I don't have all the resources within myself, so I need to get some, you know, some coaching or some assistance around that. And we know as coaches that that's just smart. If we want to get to the next level, and this is what your whole show's about, you want to get to the next level, get a team around you.
Yes.
You know, and that's okay. Just park the ego for a bit. I've got coaches, you've got coaches.
Yes.
That's just how it works. All athletes, all the top CEOs, and anyone who's anyone has got a team of coaches these days for different little things. So, yeah, as far as helping a person, it is that kind of painful motivator that gets a person to create some momentum, get over that initial inertia. But if you're a smart personal trainer or coach and you would have done this, you've got to peg something in the future. You've got to peg a toward motivator rather than away from motivator, right? And that's when we get into vision. All right, you know, what does a bucket list life look like? What does having more money actually look like? What will you actually do? You know, let's make that a visual. Let's create a vision board. Let's create a bucket list board or whatever it might be. And let's put that reminder in all the high traffic areas around you, so you can see it on your phone, on your laptop, on your, you know, on your fridge, whatever. And so it's pulling me towards that thing, and I'm not just reminded. You know, I've got a bit of an issue with self-help groups. You know, we're all sitting around talking about cancer. Does that create more cancer?
I guess.
I don't know.
I don't think it.
You know, I've had a lot of people go through this sort of stuff and go through depression. AA, interesting. I'm sitting around talking about my problem all the time.
Yeah, it keeps you in it.
Does it keep you in that cycle? I don't know. You know, we'll debate that later.
People do get results out of that, but could they get better results? I think is probably what you're saying is, can we do it a little bit differently? To me, I don't like to wallow. I mean, if I've got somebody who's really upset in a depressive state, I go, I'm probably not the best person for you, because I'm going to say, what are you doing about it?
Yeah.
And if you want to wallow and stay in the state,
into ass kicking.
I'm not the person. But if you want me to kick your ass, I'm going to do that.
Yeah,
You know, because to
we
me,
call that accountability, kids. It's not.
because to me, a mentor is somebody who expects more of you than you do of yourself, and empowers you to do that.
Holding of a higher standard, right? Yeah, holding of that vision, because you might not have that vision yourself. So holding that vision for someone is so important, and you know that from coaching. Because sometimes people can't really get that crystal clear themselves, let alone peg it, you know, let alone be reminded of it every single day.
Yeah, I think sometimes we're so busy in it that we can't see what's the next bit. And that light really does look like a train rather than, you know, there's light at the end of the tunnel.
There's two things that coaches, if you want to get to the next level, there's two things that coaches bring. And this is not a pitch for coaching or anything like that. It's just the fact that you need someone outside of you. We are so, like you said, so subjective in our own. We can't see the forest from the trees. And we are just looking at the trees. So a coach, someone outside, whether it be a mentor, whether it be yourself, myself, or whoever, and whatever area of life, it doesn't matter. They bring objectivity, right? The helicopter perspective and accountability, you know, ass kicking on the regular.
Oh, yeah.
And so those two things, that's why people employ coaches. That's why people get people around them, but only if you want something better for yourself. But no one, in my experience, no one will get a result if they don't opt in themselves.
Yes,
so if I wave my own white flag and I'm the one that pays for that coach, or I sign myself up for that therapy session, or I go to that event or seminar or program and I've paid out, I've dropped some hurt money in that, I'm going to be all ears.
Yes.
And there's an admittance of wanting to change there and collapse that time frame between where they are and where they want to be. But if someone says, like my boss says, you need to go to this program, they'll be like, you know what?
Yeah. No.
Good on you.
Good on you. I'm just going to get a few free days off or whatever it is.
Yeah, but I haven't put my own hurt money into the deal. Then the application of that, you know, I'm not integrating as much.
Yeah.
You know, and I always say, I give you a free seminar and you may or may not come.
Yep.
And if you do, you'll probably be sitting up the back and you won't bring a notepad.
Yep.
But if you drop 10 grand on that, you're front and centre, ready to go.
That's me,
when
front
the
and
thing
centre.
opens up. You know, it could be the same seminar though. It's interesting, isn't it?
And it is, you know, and you are right. I know, you know, you probably have this yourself. I get people coming to me for an ass kicking
Yep.
because they know I won't, you know, suffer and wallow.
Fools.
You know,
Yeah.
they come,
Having just met you, I can sense that ass kicking kind of.
well, to me, it's always about respect and love.
Yeah.
It's like if they come to me, they know I'll respect them, and I'm close enough to them that they appreciate that.
Yeah.
And then they start telling me something, and I go, "Are you serious about change, or you're not?"
Exactly.
And they go, "What do you mean?" I said, "I'm not going to waste my time helping with this unless you're serious.
That's a
if you're
good
not
question to
serious,
ask.
let's do something else."
Good question to ask.
So to me,
Yeah.
and I know there's 3 types of bucket lists you talk about. So I was
Yeah.
inquisitive about that as well.
Yeah, for sure. The and that is a really good question about the seriousness of it. Whatever we talk about, you know, a person has got to front up and go, "Yep, I am serious." I remember a business coach asking me years ago, going, "All right, Trav, if you want to change, are you serious?"
Yeah.
You know, and it was really confronting. Yes, I am. So for people who are watching, listening to this, bucket lists, I think, are crazy serious. I say a bucket list is a tangible life plan where a career plan or a business plan should fit into our life plan and not be the other way around.
Yes.
So it really brings home that work to live principle. And this is not just about a bucket list, which is all your ticks, that, you know, all the stuff you want to do before you die. It's really about, and gives it the frame. It's not just about the ticks, it's about how we reverse engineer every aspect of our lives in order to make this stuff come to fruition. It's about the growth of us on this journey towards these self-imposed destinations.
Yep.
But more importantly, it's about the person that exists on the other side. And that's the person that you or I do not know yet.
Yeah.
And I want people to watch this, listen to this, and get curiously excited about the bigger version of you that exists on the other side. Right? People are dying at 40 and being buried at 80. Get curiously excited about the bigger, like, how dare you put a lid? How dare you put a ceiling on your life right now?
Oh God, yeah.
There is so much more. You need to get around other people that are achieved. So the bucket list concept, we start off, there's three kinds of bucket lists. There's a reverse bucket list.
Yeah.
There's a future bucket list. And I can't say it on here. It's chapter 13 of my book, and it starts with F. It starts, and it's the stuff that you just don't want to do. You know, F that list. Now, the reverse bucket list is the one that we create first.
Yep.
If I go in an audience, I talked to 300 people at a conference last week, and I say to them, "Okay, who here has got a bucket list?" You know, I did the TED Talk in Melbourne.
Yeah.
Who here, in front of 2,500 people, who here has got a bucket list? 10% of people.
Put the hand up.
Yep. Half of them are like
Halfway.
like that. I was like, you haven't really written it down. Who's got one actually written down? Yeah. Yeah. Like, because we are so, why I say written down is, you know, when you write a goal down, let alone a bucket list item, becomes a lot more conscious.
Yes.
It becomes a lot more real. So people often ask me, "Oh, what's the first step to actually doing your bucket? Write this stuff down. Get it out of your head and separate it from your daily to-do list. Separate your bucket list from your daily to-do list, because guess which one gets done first?
Yeah.
It's your daily to-do list. Until
to-do
something
list.
traumatic or dramatic happens to you or a loved one, then you're like, suddenly reprioritize,
Yes.
don't you? When you're looking down the barrel at a use-by date. Reverse bucket list is the thing that we do first. It is everything you've done in your life as if it were on a bucket list all the way along.
Gotcha.
So if I look back on your crazy life, I know you've done some crazy stuff. I bet that reverse bucket list is really fruitful. And it's like some of this stuff you would have done by default. You would have planned. Sometimes, you know, some of it's spontaneous. But let's document all that. Now, what am I getting you to do? Write a big gratitude list.
Perfect.
Because when the chips are down and we have our unmotivated days, we all do, and by the way, I started this on the back of depression as well, albeit mild compared to what I've heard since. But the reverse bucket list was my big gratitude exercise. Basically, it's what they play at your funeral.
Yeah.
Yeah, they get your clips.
Well, wait till your funeral to see it.
They get you. I've literally got a Google Drive. It's got all my clips, all my photos, my favourite song, and I said to my kids, when I kick the bucket, there's the link. Put it all together, mash it up, make a good film clip, and play it at my funeral, and say, "See you later."
Perfect.
That's what they do anyway. So I might as well pre-prepare it for them. So, but at the end of the day, if my question to everyone is, if that clip of yours played right now, would you be stoked, fulfilled, or would you be like, could have squeezed a little bit more in? I already know the answer.
Yeah.
But when a person goes through their reverse bucket list, they start it starts to put a smile on their face. They go, oh my God, I've really done some cool stuff here.
Yeah.
And that is such a perfect platform, foundation for then writing a future bucket list. I've done a lot of this stuff by default. What if I actually put some intentional design, some thought into this? Separated my daily to-do list, create a bucket list piece of time during the week to just think about, well, what do I want to do? What do I want to tick off?
Yeah.
So doing that first lights people up, which is fantastic. And keep building and keep adding. When you cross something off your future, it goes on to your reverse. And we have these two lists concurrently running until you die.
I love it.
Right? So that one should be as big as this one. And obviously, your future bucket list is all the things you want to do before you kick the bucket. As simple as that. I wrote a book called the My Bucket List Blueprint.
Yep.
It's literally an acronym called My Bucket List. It's what I did the TED Talk on as well. And it's a 12-letter acronym. It's a 12-step program. It looks like AA, but a 12-step program. And the acronym is a bunch of questions that makes you kind of go north, south, east, west in your own brain, helps you to extract and then articulate this personally meaningful and holistic bucket list.
Yep.
And as a result, you go into a bit of a la-la land and you go, all right, well, God, what do I really want to do? And then there'll be some really random, stupid little things on there that don't require time and money. And there's some ones that you really have to have a 10-year plan towards. But the thing is, that's what it's all about. And I'm into delayed gratification, don't get me wrong.
Me too.
I'm into retirement age, and that's how we're sold our superannuation. That's how we're sold retirement. These are our golden years, but most of us don't even make it to that, to enjoy it.
Correct.
So a lot of people, and you know this, are sacrificing their happiness to enjoy later. Right? But later never comes. Let that really sink in. So I'm into instant gratification, sure, in maybe a hedonistic way, but I'm into people being happy now, not waiting until later on, not waiting until I get the money, I get the retirement, I exit the business, but I'm into it now. And the future bucket list is so personal, and what lights you up is not what lights me up, and vice versa, and that's totally cool. So
fantastic.
When we unearth all that, we write it down, and then we go after the low-hanging fruit first.
Fantastic. Well, Travis Bell, you have been absolutely amazing as a guest here on Talking Wealth. And I'm sure everybody will just absolutely be hanging on every word of what you're doing. And I'm looking forward to having you back on again today. So thank you very much for coming in.
Thanks, mate.